Hey, I'm going to go over the assignment that's titled 511, Unit 8, Day 3, Trigonometry and Unit Circle. I'm going to go over a few of the problems, not all of them, but it should help you with them. There's 16 of them. And I know it seems like a lot, and there are videos here dedicated to how to go over the examples, but I have a kind of a little secret of how to do them. Okay, so I want you to look at these problems. They're all going to be, what is the exact value of, and it might say cosine, sine, or tan of a degree, or it might say, what is the sine, cosine, or tan of a radian, which will have a pi in it. So you can do this using the unit circle, or we can do this using Desmos, and we can set our modes to degree or radian to figure out what the number is. Now, because these are multiple choice, and by the way, these answer choices are scrambled up, so don't expect that 1/2 is going to be in this position later. Desmos will give you all your answers as decimals, but you can check the decimals for each of these to see what they are. So look at some patterns here, right? You got 0, you got square root of 3 divided by 2, 1 divided by 2, negative square root of 2 divided by 2, negative square root of 3 divided by 3, -1, +1, -1/2. All the positive numbers have a negative number to go along with. So let me show you problem 1 so you know what I mean, okay? Problem 1 says, what is the exact value of 210 degrees? Well, first, go to Desmos.com. You don't need the graph, but you can have it there if you want. And since it's degrees, click the graph settings, click that little wrench. And if you look at your options down here, you have radians or degrees. Change it to degrees if it's in radians. Now look at the problem. It says, what is cosine COS of 210 degrees? COS, parentheses, 210. It'll give you a decimal, okay? Negative 0.866. Negative 0, so I want to jot that down for a minute. Negative 0.866. That's the decimal equivalent of the cosine of 210 degrees. So as I look through my answer choices, I know it's got to be a negative. I also can rule out some obvious ones, like negative 1/2. 1/2 is 0.5, so that would be negative 0.5. Negative 1 is not negative 0.866. So we can rule out all the ones that are 1/2, 1, or 0, and all the positive ones. So let's look down here at all the negative ones that have square roots. The negative square root of 2/2. What is that decimal? Negative SQRT 2, right arrow, divide 2. Well, that's not the same number. So I know it's not going to be the negative square root of 2/2. Does that make sense? So I'm going to go down and pick another negative. Negative square root of 3/3. Negative SQRT 3, right arrow, divided by 3. That's not it either. So let's try the negative square root of 3/2. Negative SQRT 3, right arrow, divided by 2. Now look at this number here, negative 0.8660254033784. Look at the first number when we just typed in cosine of 210 in degree mode. You got negative 0.8660254033784. These are the same thing. So the cosine of 210 degrees is the negative square root of 3 divided by 2. So you can get your answer without even using the unit circle. Pretty cool. You don't have to worry about subtracting 360, adding 360, converting it to radians or degrees. Just type it in Desmos, but make sure that your mode is set to whatever the problem asks for. If it's a degree symbol, put it in degree. And let me refresh you on how to change the mode. On Desmos, if you click the wrench, you can go down to radians or degrees. Well, what if I use Desmos on my phone, you ask? All right. You go to desmos.com on your phone, it's in mobile, or you, I guess, have the app. I have the app. Not everybody needs the app, but take a look at my phone for a second so you can see. All right, let's see if I can move this over here so you can see it. Ignore everything else on there for now, and let's take a look at, if I'm putting it here, and I don't have my keyboard, well, you can get your keyboard, but you can also go to functions for your trig. I'll show that in a minute. Look at your wrench. The default mode for Desmos here on your computer and phone is in radians. If I want it in degree, I'll do degree. But I don't have a COS here. So I could do ABC and do COS. And that puts the cosine function there. Go back to the 1, 2, 3, and I could do the, what was it, 210? And there is your negative 0.866. How do I get negative square root of 3 over 2? Well, the square root symbol is kind of default there, so I could do negative square root of 3. And then I just kind of click over to the right and click divided by 2. And that matches up that way. All right, if you don't have your calculator shown for some reason, maybe that's hidden, you can go over to functions, and trig is the first function shown. You got your sine, cosine, tan, and a bunch of other stuff that you don't need right now. So you can do cosine of 210 that way as well. All right. So we're going to use Desmos to complete this. You know, I've harped on the unit circle. The unit circle will become important in your next math class, but for right now, for our purposes, we'll use Desmos to get that. So the first 10 problems are like that. Now let's go to question number, well, let me check question 10 first. Yeah, so 10 is a degree, keep it in degree. Once you get to question 11, question 11 will ask, what is the exact value of sine of, and it gives you a radian, negative 2 pi divided by 3. So what we'll do to do this in Desmos is we'll go click on the wrench. We'll go to radians. So if it has a pi in it, or if it just doesn't have the degree symbol in it, we can assume it's radians. But typically radians have a pi. All right, I want to do sine, parentheses, negative 2 pi divided by 3. So I'm going to type sin, parentheses, negative 2. And you can hit the pi just by typing pi, or you can go into your calculator to hit the pi button that way. I forgot what I was talking about. Divided by 3. So negative 2 pi divided by 3. And, well, what a coincidence. This one ends up being the same thing, negative 0.866025. And if I remember correctly, that was the negative square root of 3, click to the right of there, divided by 2. So that's actually the same answer in this one. There's probably square root of 3 divided by 2 probably comes up quite a bit. So that's number 11. And so 1 through 10 kind of use it in degrees. 11 through 16 use it in radians. If you're not getting one of the answers that are on your answer choice, then you probably just have your mode set incorrect. So for instance, let's say I went back to number, I don't know, we'll do number 6. Number 6 says, all right, what's cosine of negative 120? And let's say I blindly put in cosine of negative 120. .8141. That's not going to be any of the decimals you see. So remember that 120 is a degree. You got to click the wrench, you got to go to degrees, and now look at it. Now it says negative 0.5. Well, what is 0.5? It's 1/2. So if you do negative 1 divided by 2, that's going to be your answer. So the cosine of negative 120 for number 6 would be negative 1/2. And see how the answers are all scrambled up. So just mind where your answers are. So that's number 6, and I guess I'll do one more of the radians. Let's do number, let's say 14. All right, 14 is tan of 11 pi over 6. Tan of 11 pi over 6. All right, let me clear these out. Tan parentheses 11 pi slash 6. Well, that decimal doesn't make sense. So let's click there, and let's click our mode to radians. Negative 0.577. All right, well, I know it's not negative square root of 3 over 2 because that was the negative 0.866. So let's try some of the other ones. It's not going to be 1/2, 0. It's going to be a negative, so can't be this. It could be this as a negative. So let's try negative square root of 3 over 3. Negative SQRT3, right arrow divided by 3. Well, look at that. It ends up giving you the same thing. So, you know, if the negative is not there, obviously that's wrong. But the negative there makes that the right thing. So the square root of 3 over 3 with the negative out front is going to be my answer. Square root of 3 over 3 with the negative out front. So just mind your radians or degrees. Check your decimals. These are all the same answer choices, just scrambled up. You should be able to get through these. And the good news is you don't need any unit circle with that. So I hope that was helpful for you. And all right, we'll see you later.